Hi, today I'm going to show you how to knit this mittens and braid hairband. One ball of yarn challenge. Let's get started. Please check my description box for all the details such as needle, yarn, and written pattern. This time I didn't really make the swatch. I made the swatch before for other project, and this was made with 6.5 millimeter needle. So I decide I am going to use this gauge. So for the rib, I use 6.5 millimeter needle, and the hand part 8 millimeter. All right. So if you really want to, know how many casts you should start with, maybe you should knit a little bit and put around your, wrist and make sure how many, stitch you need. And after the mitten, there were quite a bit, yarn left over. So I decide I'm going to knit hairband too. This is the yarn I used. Let's start with mitten. I use German stretchy cast on. Make a slip knot first. And look at my needle work. Go underneath of the thumb and go from top to bottom. Come back to the center. Grab the digital finger thread and pull through that triangle space. There you go, right there. A few more times, let's do that together. All right? So, the needle, go underneath of the thumb and coming from top to down, come back to center position and grab the thread from the digital finger and pull through. Few more times. Go under the thumb, coming from top to down, come back to center position and grab the digital finger thread. Then, can you see my middle finger? Yeah, right there. There we go. And pull through it. One more time. Go underneath, coming from top to bottom, and then grab the digital finger thread and pull that space. I tried to make a, bigger space so easy to see. There you go. If you think this is too difficult or you don't think this is necessary, just do the regular cast on. As long as, multiple of 2 and big enough, I'm not going to worry about that. I made 20 cast on. My wrist is quite small. I have only 5 inches around my wrist, so 20 cast on is plenty. And after this, pretty much same. I have to connect both ends, which means I have to use magic loop technique. If you never done magic loop technique, please check my, video. The rib should be repeat of knit 1 and purl 1 until your desired length. I knitted it about 2 inch. So I put the begin marker and start with knit. Knit 1, and purl 1. You just have to be very careful on the first round, because from the second row, you just knit over knit stitch and purl over purl stitch. By the way, this project was so easy. I was using chunky yarn, number 5, so it was so fast. I believe it took me about half day to finish this project. And then, another half day with the hairband. So the both project were so easy. Anyway, whenever you hit the desired length, the rib should be done. And change the needle. Again, I switch from 6.5 to 8 millimeter. Why, more than one size up? Simple answer. I didn't have the 7.5 millimeter needle. That's the only reason. Anyway, after you change the needle, knit few rows until you hit the CARPOL bone, at the very end of the bottom of the thumb. So, I believe I knit 3 rounds. If you're using, thinner yarn, you might want to knit more rows. But, with this thick yarn, I think 3 rounds is enough. So, after the rib, I use 8 millimeter needle until the end. So no more changing the needle. Anyway, I'm just telling you that much you have to knit around without any, increasing. Now, we will have to make thumb gusset. Increasing kicks in. So this is setup row, knit 1, and then make 1 left. Pick up the running thread like that, and with the left needle, grab like that. V shape at the back. You can't really see. So, knit back loop. This is make 1 left. Then, knit 1. This is setup row number 1. After knit 1, now make 1 right. Grab running thread. V shape is now front. Then knit that V shape. Just take your time. It's kind of, pain in the neck. Because, the project is kind of small. So easy to, drop the stitch off. There you go. Just take your time. So knit 1, make 1 left, knit 1, and make 1 right, and knit 1 more. Then add marker. Place the marker. And rest of them all knit. So with some thumb gusset, you have 3 original stitch there. And then, 2 additional, make 1 left and make 1 right, right? So, but from now on, the thumb gusset is getting bigger and bigger because you will increase. Anyway, setup row number 2 and setup row number 3, both of them are all knit. So, Michu thumb gusset row number 1. It's same. However, the wording is different. Okay? So, that's a begin marker. Then knit 1. Make 1 left. Right after the knit 1, you do make 1 left. So, V shape at the back, right? So, you will knit that V shape. So, use the back loop. Then knit until one last stitch before the second marker. There you go. That's the one. Then make one right. There we go. V shape out front, then knit front loop. There you go. Then knit last one. This is the thumb gusset row number 1, and then thumb gusset row number 2 and 3 are both all knit. Simple, just the wording is different. And getting, more and more because you're increasing with some thumb gusset. So now you have to repeat row number 1 till row number 3 until, the length hit between thumb and digital, fingers right there. So I need actually knit more a little bit. And whenever you hit the desired length, now you transfer all the thumb gusset stitch onto scrap yarn. Again, you have to transfer all the thumb gusset stitch whenever the length reaches, in between thumb and, digital finger. All right? And I will finish the thumb later. Now, let's knit the hand, 4 fingers, section first. It's not connected right now, so I am going to connect. But before that, I add 3 new cast. If you think, 3 is not enough, you can add more. But it has to be multiple of 2. The total stitch count. I think, the 3 is enough for me. So I add 3 new cast and start knitting. Just on it until your desired length. Your desired length, which means, almost cover your, middle finger. Usually middle finger is longest finger, right? And whenever you hit the desired length, 2 more row to finish, which is 1 decreasing row and all knit, and that's it, bind off. So that's the hint. You can actually add more decreasing row if you want, but I didn't want to make triangle shape at the top, so I did the only, once decreasing row. Now I'm showing you the SSK, slip, slip, knit, and then knit until last 2 stitch. I split, in half, right? So you do exactly same thing the other side. So here comes. There you go. Knit 2 together. And you still have stitch the other side. And you do exactly same thing, which is SSK, slip, slip, knit, and then knit until end of this, side, then knit 2 together. So don't mix up, if I say SSK and knit until last two doesn't mean end of this row, okay? I split in half. So both side palm and back of the hand side. And then decreasing row number 2 is all knit, and that's about it. And again, if you want to have more curve, on top of the mitten, you can do, one more decreasing row, something like that. But I stop right there because I kind of want to have a little square shape of the mitten this time. Okay, let's finish. I use the Kitchener cast off. Super easy. Number 1, knit front stitch. And it says off, which means take the stitch off from the needle. There you go. And then purl front stitch. And I didn't say off, right? So that stitch stay. Now purl back stitch like that, and then off. So take the stitch off, then knit back and stay. So you have to repeat from 1 to 4. Again, knit front, then stitch off, purl front, stay, then purl back, off, then knit back. The benefit of the Kitchener cast off, there's no seam. I'll show you, very smooth surface. That's what I like about. Anyway, now I did purl front, stay there, and purl back, off, and knit back. This is so simple. Oh, and one more thing I have to tell you is whenever you're knitting first mitten, you have to actually write everything down, what you do, what you did, because you have the other hand too. So, you don't want to think again, right? And you want to have same length of mitten. So write everything down, like, okay, the rib, knit 1, purl 1, how many rows, and after that, how many rows I knit for, top of the rib, and gusset, I did how many, repeat, blah, blah, blah. You got to write it down. And the other hand, it's going to be so simple because you just follow whatever you did for the other side, right? Anyway, almost done. Kitchener cast off, movement group of 4, that doesn't mean the stitch count has to be multiple of 4. You just have to repeat from 1 to 4 until one last stitch. And if you have one stitch left, just weave the ends off. That's about it. And, mitten, right? So always weave the ends off inside. So, doesn't show much outside, right? So this is it. Super simple mitten tutorial, right? No cable knitting, nothing. Anyway, I thought I finished it, but I haven't because I haven't done the thumb part. So anyway, after, weave the ends off, we gotta finish the thumb. So let's do that. And I'll show you what it's like on top of the mitten where you did the, I did the Kitchener cast off. It's nice and smooth. You don't even know you sewed them together. Anyway, after you weave the ends off, make sure everything is all good. There you go. Perfect. And I'll show you top of the mitten. There you go. Nice and smooth. You don't even know. There's no seam. That's what I like about the Kitchener cast off. Anyway, let's move on to thumb. Transfer thumb stitch onto needle. Okay, and I add 2 markers. First and last, stitch inward. And I am going to knit up 3 stitch plus 2 extra. Okay, so there we go. Let's knit up first. So the first knit up is extra knit up. There you go. And next 3 should be where I did the new cast. Do you remember I add 3 cast, right, to connect the body, the hand part again? So that's where I am going to knit up. So 3 there. And after you knit up 3, knit 1 more extra. So I knit up total of 5. So if you add more than 3 earlier, like let's say you add 5 new cast, right, for the forefinger, now you have to knit up 7. So you are going to knit up whatever number you add earlier plus 2 extra stitch. All right? And this is important. I just knit up 5 stitches, which is inside of the thumb, right? And now I am going to knit outside of the thumb. All right? So knit until the other side of the marker. You gotta be very careful because, I'm turning the project. I should have used the different color of the, the marker. So it's more easier to understand. Anyway, it's coming. Well, after the next marker, all right, what's there? The last original stitch and 5 knit up stitch, then first original stitch. That's within those 2 green markers. So remove the first green marker. This is last original stitch. And that's first extra knit up stitch. Now I am going to decrease, okay, with SSK. Slip, slip, knit. There we go. And I want to actually look at the stitch. I want you to look at the stitch before the next marker. That's the one. That's first original stitch. And rest of them are all knit up. So last knit up stitch and first original stitch, I will do knit two together to decrease one stitch. All right, so next 3 knit up stitch, you just knit 3. 1, 2, 3. And then next one is the last extra knit up, and then first original stitch, you do knit 2 together. After this, you just have to all knit until cover your thumb. And the reason why I did this, 2 extra and SSK and knit 2 together, because there's always gap around the connection part. And this way you can minimize the gap. That's the only reason. Anyway, this is the last row of thumb. Knit 2 together. 1 round. So repeat of knit 2 together, 1 round. So you can decrease half of the stitch. And usually the thumb stitch count is not that many, right? So you don't have to do 2 rows. However, if you have too many stitch for thumb, you can actually do 1 more decreasing row, which is another repeat of knit 2 together. It's really up to you. I just, did the 1 row, and after 1 row, cut the yarn, and then, use the tapestry needle to, weave the ends off. That's about it. But anyway, seriously, knitting the very small, part with the big needle, it's sometimes, it's kind of hard, but just take your time. There we go. It's done. And again, let's do the, weave the ends off. Super easy. There you go, just like that. Again, use the tapestry needle. You don't have to do the, Kitchener cast off or anything like that. All right. And for me, it was really hard to push the needle back in, so I took the needle off, and then weave the ends off. This is it, So after this, you have to do exactly same thing, for the other hand. Again, whenever you knit the first hand, you have to write it down, everything, what you did, how many rows you knit for the rib, and, increasing, stuff like that. So, if you write it down, the second, hand, super easy, right? You just have to follow whatever you did. That's it. By the way, I'm using this, mitten already for dog walk and everything. It's so warm, actually. Quite warm. I really love it. And I wanted to have some, loose mitten this time. So I'm very happy about it. And after I knit this mitten, there's quite a bit, leftover yarn. So I decide I am going to knit the hairband, which is so easy and cute. So let's do that now. This is the beauty of handmade, right? You can match hairband and mittens. Anyway, let's start. Cast on with contrast color of yarn, 18 stitches. You can do just a regular, cast on. It doesn't have to be stretchy. Shouldn't be stretchy. So just a, regular cast on. However, use the different color of yarn. Okay, my main yarn is still red. Anyway, so that's about it. Cut the yarn and turn the work and start with wrong side. All right, row number 1, wrong side, all purl. Row number 2, right side, all knit. Pretty much, stockinette stitch. So you just follow the written pattern. Row number 1 till row number 5, and row number 6 will be cable knitting. This cable braid design complete on row number 16, and you just have to repeat row number 1 to row number 16, and then cable knitting row is only 2 rows. Row number 6 and row number 14. So this is super easy pattern. Maybe I don't even have to, explain how to do it. Super easy. And one thing I want to tell you about the cast on, why I use the different yarn, that's because later on I am going to pick up all the stitches, and then I do the Kitchener cast off, and this way I can actually use the original stitch to cast off. I'll show you later on. So this is row number 6, right side, C12B, which is cable 12 back. So pick up 6 stitch with the cable needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe. There we go. And then put back. So this is a little bit confusing because there's no, stitch on your right side. But, put the cable needle at the back and then knit 6 from the left needle first. 2, 3, and take your time. 4, 5, 6. And then come back to cable needle. And then there's a 6 stitch on the cable needle, right? And knit those 6. And seriously, it's a little bit awkward at the very beginning. So take your time. Most important thing is do not drop any stitch off. I'm a little bit, having trouble right there, so I'm sorry I can't really show you right now. There you go. There you go. Knit from cable needle. There you go. Once you knit more length, much easier. This was the first, cable row. It was seriously awkward. The key is patient. Take your time. And then there's 6 more left, so knit 6. And this is it. This is row number 6. And then row number 7, till row number 13. Again, stockinette stitch, or purl on wrong side, or knit on right side. So see you on row number 14, which is right side. Cable knitting, super easy. Knit 6, and after knit 6, there's the cable knitting, C12F. Only difference is the now you have to put the cable needle out front. That's it. So after knit 6 with the cable needle, pick up 6 stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now leave the needle out front because C12 front. Then knit 6. Well, rest of the stitch are only 6 stitch. So knit 6 from left needle, 5, and last one, 6. Then come back to cable needle. Then how many stitch on the cable needle? 6. So knit 6 from the cable needle. This is row number 14. And row number 15 and 16 is all purl on row 15 and all knit on row 16. That's about it. And then again, I told you earlier, you just have to repeat row number 1 till row number 16 until your desired length. Desired length, that's around your head, but think it's stretchy a bit, right? So whenever you kind of, try, stretch them out, right? I knitted it about 20 inch total. So now I have to sew them together. Now pick up all the stitches from the cast on, and needle direction has to be same way. And whenever you do the Kitchener cast off, the wrong side has to be together. So, think about that. Anyway, picking up the stitches is simple. Just pick up every stitch, and in between those, the green yarn. Sorry, I'm getting ready. There you go. There you go. 2, 3, 4. There you go. And then once you pick up all the stitches, make sure there are 18 stitch. If you have only 17, you're missing some stitch, or 1 stitch, And whenever you pick up all the 18 stitch, now you untied green yarn. There you go. Little by little. Don't use the scissors, because you don't want to cut the main yarn, right? And whenever you're ready, you do the Kitchener cast off. And we already, did that before. So now you're the expert. So I don't really have to, tell you. But one thing I want to tell you one more time, the wrong side together. Okay, outside, right side should be outside. Anyway, knit front, off, purl front, stay, purl, back, then off, and then knit, back, stay. And you just, do this until one last stitch. That's it. So, what do you think about those two projects? I think this is a great idea for, gift. Birthday, winter holiday season, it's already over, but, if you want to knit them for all your family, maybe you should start from now. To be really honest with you, I don't usually use the hairband for outside purpose, but every morning when I wash my face and everything, I use this a lot. It's cute and it's nice and soft, so this is actually great for my morning routine. Anyway, if you like this video, please give your thumb up and share this, and if you don't understand, just leave your comment. Thanks for watching. Enjoy knitting. Bye for now.